Hello everyone. So today in the tutorial that we're going to be doing invisible increases for when you want to do an invisible increase on like a sleeve for a sweater. And I have tried multiple different types of increases, and these are the ones that I have found to be the greatest. And once you practice them and you get really good at doing them, they're going to be almost invisible. So I have a sleeve that I've finished, and it is this really dark red. And I was going to use the same color to do the tutorial, and then I was like, it's so dark you can't really see it, although it is a gorgeous, gorgeous red. And this yarn is Cascade 220, and I'm not 100% sure what the color is because I don't have the tag next to me. But I love this yarn. It's so nice. Now, to see these increases, you can't tell that they're here. I can find one, hopefully. Right here there is one, right by where my thumb is, but it's right there. But when you're looking at it like this, you can hardly see that they're there. You can kind of see the V's where the stitches split, but it just looks really nice and really invisible, so there's no holes, no gapes, no anything. So I'm using this really pretty green. When I do invisible increases for my sweater sleeves, I'm gonna have to get back to my end of round. I like to put my end of round marker somewhere in the middle because it makes it easier when doing the increases if you're not trying to jump needles or anything like that. It just makes it a little bit easier to remember where you're putting them at versus having, 4 or 5 different stitch markers on your sleeve if you don't need them. So we're just going to get around to the end of round marker, and then I will show you the right side, and then when we get back towards the end of round marker, we will do the left side. Now, they do lean completely different ways for obvious reasons. You don't want all of your increases to lean to the right, and then it won't have the pretty V shape because they'll be all leaning like this or all leaning like that. But when you do one on the right and one on the left, you get a nice pretty V going up the inside of your sweater. The other reason why I like putting these at the beginning and end of round markers, that's generally when you're doing a sleeve where you remove the armhole stitches. So that means these increases will be on the underarm side of your sweater, and they won't be, at the side or at the top where everyone can see them regardless. So it just gives it a little bit of an added invisibility to me. So now that we're at the end of round, we're going to knit in 4. Now to do this, for a right leaning increase, you're going to, let me knit one more. I was doing a practice one and there was one right there, and I don't want to put these increases on top of each other. So for the right leaning increase, you're going to pick up this understitch right here, the stitch underneath, right there. And you're just going to put it on your needle. Then you're going to knit into that stitch you just picked up. And then this stitch that you've been knitting into, you're just going to slip in. And you get this cool little double stitch right here. And that is where your increase is actually going to come from. And you won't see it until we actually knit it into a separate stitch on the next round. So it is a 2-round process. It's not an immediate increase because if you don't knit it, it's just going to disappear again. So we just knit this side. Now I know there are going to be some questions about where did I get this yarn color from? This is actually Bear stole from Knit Picks that I hand dyed for a project I was working on because I couldn't find a color that I liked. So that is actually how this color came to be. And this is just the leftovers from that project. Okay, so on this side, when we get close to our EOR marker, you actually stop at 5 stitches from the end of round because you need to knit 4 stitches before your EOR for the pattern. So what you're going to do on this side is you actually slip the stitch that you've knit on before. You pick up this side of the bottom stitch. Instead of the front loop, we're picking up the back leg. And then you actually knit the back leg of the other stitch. And now we're going to knit to the other end of this, and I will show you what the right side increase looks like. And then I will show you again on the other side of this little sample, just so that way we don't have to knit a whole bunch of rounds before we can do another increase. So here we are, we're at your double stitch. So all you're going to do is you knit into the first side, or the first stitch, then you knit the second stitch, and then it becomes 2 separate stitches, and that is your increase. You have just increased 1 stitch. And as you can see, now that you've done it, how invisible that looks. You can kind of see right here where it was, but once you block it and everything else and you knit a little bit further, it will be almost invisible. So again, I'm going to show you on this side how to do the right and left increase. So we're going to knit, we'll say 4. And again, for the right, we're going to pick up the front side of the stitch right here, put it on the needle, knit that stitch, slip the actual stitch you've been knitting. And then we're going to knit 4 more and do the left side. This side, you slip the stitch you've been knitting that is on your needles, and you pick up the understitch. And you get the double stitch, and then you just knit. And now since we're back at this side of the end of round, I can show you what the left leaning increase looks like. Because we're just going to knit this. So we're back at our increase 2 stitches, and you're just going to knit the first stitch and then knit the second stitch individually. So you end up with 2 separate stitches. And then to look at the both of them right here, You can see them a little bit, but like I said, once your sleeves are blocked and set, you are not going to be able to see these increases. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to do both left and right leaning invisible increases, and I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you.